Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Awaken the World. My name is Garen and today we're going to be talking about the gender bias drama. And this is a pretty serious issue, you know. It would be easy to accept that there still is very much so a gender bias going on today. The unfortunate reality of this, though, is that when it comes to gender roles and identification, it's a crapshoot at best. I mean, in this day and age, we have this so-called polarization of genders, and the gender models that we're dealing with have entered into the realm of the utterly insane. When you take thousands, tens of thousands of angry women shouting, screaming, that is not representative of the feminine aspect. We have gotten so lost in this. And of course, what happens to make matters worse is the powers that be who know that the best way to control is to simply get people to infight. They're right on top of that in marketing, in media, everywhere. The whole concept of gender is a human construct. It is a construct of our minds. Okay? In the natural world, female and male are not thought of. They simply don't exist at a conscious level. What we have done is we have perceived differences in what we would call the female and male model in the natural world, and then we've turned around, we've tried to apply that to character traits within our society. And to take this problem even further, mass media, of course, continues to portray both men and women by stereotype, and that stereotype is ancient and unrealistic to the point that it causes dysfunction. And we're going to talk about those two different stereotypes, the whole what it means to be a man and what it means to be a woman in a different segment. I, as I was saying earlier, we're going to return to this, an unconscious population subjected to continuous drama, and we're talking now about the ongoing rise of the feminine drama, which isn't the rise of the feminine. It's the rise of angry women exhibiting masculine traits. Sorry, but it's usually the men who have over angry egos. And unfortunately, this is spread throughout our entire population. Uh, there is no need to subjugate people when you don't have to waste the time and resources. All you have to do is convince them that they have an enemy within themselves. You know, first the enemy is infiltrating spies or terrorists coming in from different nations in the guise of refugees. So boy, that family and their three little children who clearly are having a miserable time and starving to death, living in a UN tent in the middle of the Sudan, you don't want them in your country because they may pick up a rifle one day. You know, this is a sort of illusion that we try and convince ourselves to do what? I'm not even sure. I mean, ultimately what it comes down to is as our society fights amongst itself, we hand over our rights to whatever politician, whatever power and control structure appears to side with us at the time. And there's always an us and a them. Quite frankly, I'm a little at a loss for words over the whole thing. I mean, the feminine is, you know, since time immemorial is the creative aspect, the womb of creation. Now, this is obvious. You know why? Because we give birth through the female, right? You want a new baby, you bring him in through the female. Now we look at that and we think, yep, I can agree with that 100%. We're almost there now, if not there. What about babies that are coming in that are not born from male or female? The two parts are taken, one from each other, and stuck together in a tube, and it hangs in a cryogenic tank somewhere and gestates there. Or what about cloning? What is the feminine? What is woman power? What is manpower? These labels, these divisions that we continually buy into and allow to be perpetrated on us, and the drama is ridiculous. You can see it played out in TV shows, in newspapers, down the street, in houses. Honestly, my wife saw it a lot in the Christian church. The men somehow taking on women are supposed to be subservient to the men, and totally bypassing the part of how men are supposed to treat women altogether. You know, this is the what we would term the masculine. Okay, what we're really talking about is the destructive force. Now, this destructive force is not a bad force. It is part of the whole. The beautiful thing about the Hindu faith, they don't have gods per se by the thousands. They have aspects of God by the thousands. And Shiva the Destroyer is a fantastic example of that. Shiva's not some demon. He may look like one, but he is not a demon at all. We need to destroy in order to create. But when we are stuck in destroyer mode, as we have been ever since the birth of our latest round of patriarchal cultures, okay, we are slowly and surely moving forward to more and more destruction, with very little progress at a higher intuitive, emotive level. All our deep legends, all our deep myths came out of matriarchal societies. The creative, the in tune, the in touch, the creative, the yin side of the yang. Both energies are actually contained within the same circle. There's a reason for that. And within each energy, the other exists. There's a reminder there on both sides of the yin and yang to remind us that those energies are not separate. And yet in our society, we would strive to make those energies separate. We have turned the battle, or we have turned the creative and destructive force into a battle between the sexes now in our societies, a battle between men and women. I mean, I'm going to get some flack for this, and that's okay if you feel you need to let go on me a little bit about it. But let's face it, there's a whole bunch of very ignorant young men and women out there that are unintentionally supporting and playing right into this on both sides of that coin. I had a discussion with a girlfriend of my wife's. It's a fair time ago now. She moved to Victoria to be near the ocean. Good for her, and near her daughter in Vancouver. And she made the statement that a woman should be able to wear whatever it is she wants in public in order to state her womanhood through her apparel without having to deal with things that another woman or a guy is going to say about it. And, I had to stop her for a minute and say, well, wait a minute. In a perfect world, that may be the case. But the definition of womanhood is what? Where is womanhood in clothing? I mean, if you're going to walk around in something that is quite revealing in the society that we've created, yes, you are asking for someone to make that comment. I would never do such a thing. Never crosses my mind. I don't equate clothes and what I see on the outside with the beings that they are. But so many people do. There are people who are so ignorant out there that take one look at the way a woman is dressed and make all the determinations about whether they're sexually available or not, whether they have a brain. The list goes on and on and on. And we have all created this. And this so-called division between the two genders, okay, is a lie. It's a drama. Now, we're not talking about allowing sexual abuse of any kind. That includes any unwanted touching, comments, the whole bit. We are not speaking about those things. What we are speaking about is the idea that this divides us again. Constantly, day after day, the power and control structure that rules this planet, the military-industrial complex, and I'm going to speak about them in a separate video, and it is not a conspiracy. The proof is out there in plain daylight. Again, I'm just going to point out, can't feed the homeless, but we can buy new jet fighters from Australia here in Canada. These sort of things divide us, and they don't need to divide us. The beauty of relationship is the ability for the creative and destructive side, the energies, to work in a symphony. I mean, take a look at the yin and yang. Does it not appear to be a literal spiraling dance, frozen in a picture, in a symbol? Right? To turn that into a three-dimensional object and imagining what's happening with the two energies intertwining with each other inside there. It's a beautiful dance. It's not a division. As I said, thousands upon thousands of screaming angry women do far more harm than good. The so-called masculine and feminine traits that we've bought into are a sales pitch. The use of labels and our own ego attachment to those labels has created all this trouble. Those energies that we're talking about, the creative and destructive energy, those are not tied up in any one sex. When you manifest a particular gender here, okay, you do so because the tasks and path that you have chosen can best be fulfilled through that gender. But don't kid yourself to think that your higher self, that which you truly are, isn't manifesting opposite genders and transgenders and gay and straight and all at the same time. We have to stop allowing these sort of divisions to put us both on one side of an abyss from each other. Everyone yelling and screaming across the abyss. You know, and that abyss, it's just dark. We can't even see what's there. But you know what? We're so busy beating up against each other and standing against all the time that no one really takes the risk to step into the abyss and find out that in that darkness, that creative and destructive force work in perfect harmony. How do you think this universe is formed? How do you think life comes about? It's both creative and destructive. It takes both energies. It's going to take both our energies to make us a whole species. Am I I am all for returning our world to a matriarchal society across the globe, 100%. But when I say matriarchal, I'm talking about true feminine power. The womb of creativity, the stillness, the silence, the place of calm. This is what we need as a world more than ever, and this is what we need from our feminine activists. There's enough anger in men without you adding more anger to what's going on in the world. And this anger we feel as men is driven by what society views we should be, and the fact that 99% can never live up to it. And we're going to talk about that in more detail. It's very important to remember that as a construct, as a social construct, masculinity and femininity are used to class behaviors, not the actual sex of individual members of the species. Not male, not female, but behaviors. And those classifications that we deem feminine and masculine, they change all the time based on the society you're in on the planet, for one, and based on when that society is. I hope this has been helpful in some way, and some information there for you. My love to you all, and namaste. We will talk again.